Now to a cyclone that has swept across southern Africa and has killed more than 130 people. In Mozambique, 90% of the central city of Beira has been destroyed. Winds up to 170 kilometers per hour and torrential rain swept away homes and bridges and damaged power lines. The cyclone has travelled from Malawi across Mozambique and into Zimbabwe. Malcolm Webb reports now from central Mozambique.
First came ferocious winds and torrential rain that lasted for pretty much 4 days. It's only eased off a short while ago, and you can see some of the kind of damage that's been done. This gum tree fell over and landed on the roof of this house. Luckily there was no one inside here, but in other parts of the country dozens of people have been killed. It's also knocked down power lines, so there's no electricity in any of the affected areas. That means no running water as well, and no communications. Most of the communications lines are down. A dam burst on Sunday, and that cut off the last road that was connecting the coastal capital of Beira, the coastal city of Beira, where the cyclone hit. That's where it came in from the Indian Ocean. And even where we are, about 300 kilometers away, the damage is extensive. Hundreds of houses in this district have been destroyed. People are sheltering in schools or with neighbours. And this town itself is now somewhat of an island. The two roads that connected have both been cut off. In one case, a bridge washed away. In another, the road completely submerged by a river. So it's going to be very difficult for people here to get any assistance.
It's extraordinary scenes of devastation. We can speak now to Euloge Ishimwe, who's the Africa Region Communications Manager for the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies. Joins us now from Nairobi. Euloge, tell us more about what your team are reporting from the scene. They were among the first to arrive there, weren't they?
Yes, we are continuously receiving reports and images and footage from Beira, from the affected areas. And what we can say now is that the scale of destruction is massive. We have been informed that about 90% of the area has been completely destroyed.
And what are they telling you about the numbers of potential fatalities and indeed the mass displacement that must result from such devastation?
Yes, so the physical impact of the cyclone is beginning to emerge. We can see a lot of destruction in terms of houses, but the human impact is not yet clear. According to official reports, about 68 people have died, and more than 1,000 more have been injured. So, but we have to note that this number is likely to change, because one of the challenges the aid workers are facing now is mainly about access. Most of the roads have been destroyed, and about 2 days ago, one of the dams in the outskirts of Beira burst, and it cut off all access to the city. That was the last access available, and prior to that, airports had closed and no flights were approved. So you can see that, accessing to people who needed help has been a challenge.
What kind of efforts are your teams preparing for? What kind of scenes are you likely to be having to deal with? Anything from feeding people to diseases and so forth?
Yeah, so we have tried to prioritize, and the assessments are ongoing, but there have been some quick assessments already. So priorities are in terms of shelter. So you will remember that before the cyclone hit Beira, there were floods and rains for about a week, which had already displaced about 17,000 people. So even before the cyclone made landfall, there were massive needs in terms of shelter. So shelter is one of the most immediate needs. In addition to shelter, there are also needs for health care. So people in such situation are exposed to harsh weather conditions. Vector diseases, waterborne diseases are likely to come and affect most of the people. And lastly, water, sanitation and hygiene. So people need access to clean water to avoid contracting waterborne diseases. So these are some of the things we're trying to do. Mozambique Red Cross volunteers are on the ground. They were there before providing early warning to communities. An international team from the IFRC, International Federation of Red Cross, Red Crescent Society, is already on the ground supporting the local Red Cross Society to assist people who have been affected.
It's certainly going to be a formidable challenge. We wish you well in your efforts. Euloge Ishimwe from the Red Cross, thanks very much indeed.